Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano/Ergo video today. I've got the guys from ZenGate, Dan and Sam, here to tell me all about what they're working on, and we got a little bit of an insight into Ergo at the same time. So Dan, Sam, very welcome. Thanks for taking the time to come on today.
Thanks for having us,
Paul.
So look, we'll jump straight into it. I suppose if you want to give the high-level overview who you guys are, and then we'll get into ZenGate and everything you're working on there and the utility that you're looking to bring to the blockchain.
Right. So I'll start, and Sam can kind of come in, when it passed the ball. Anyway, so yes, my name is Dan Friedman. I guess I came into the space during the start of the Cardano project. That was before mainnet, about a year and a half or so before mainnet. So just basically been there since the beginning, working with Charles, working with the core team, launched the mainnet, then have been working at IOG, first as basically the project manager for the pre-sale, then the business development side of IOG. That was my main focus after we launched. And as the years went on, and there's been 7 years now, over 7 years that I've been in the Cardano ecosystem, you might say. I also joined the Ergo Foundation as a strategic advisor, and I've also been working with the Ergo Foundation for about 2 years now, and we're actually building on Ergo as well as Cardano. So it's really, it's a really good kind of mixture of, different ecosystems, different technologies, kind of different takes on what can be done technologically. And so fast forward to ZenGate, which we started about a little over a year ago. And so ZenGate is a company that aims to, I guess for the lack of a better word, to bring real utility with blockchain backing it, bring real utility to the world, bring mass adoption to the world. And in fact, the core of why ZenGate was started was actually to bring more mass adoption to the Ergo ecosystem. So this was one of the main focuses when ZenGate just got started. So that's what we aim to do. And so our flagship product we're working on right now is called the Palmyra Commodity Exchange, or the commodity platform. And what we aim to do with that is to tailor to underserved commodities in emerging economies. And so on the back end, we're of course utilizing the blockchain for traceability, for tokenization, for on-off chain Oracle information processing, and so on, and various other functionalities that really are real utility use cases for the blockchain and for Ergo and Cardano and specifically, which is also very exciting. Let me just pass it over to Sam so that he can do a quick intro, or maybe a mid-size intro, whatever works. Go for it, Sam.
Yeah, I'll do a short intro. So hi guys, Paul, thanks for having me on. So I'm one of the co-founders of ZenGate Global, and my background's in the management consulting space. So I spent a number of years working with different banks, insurance companies, also did some telecommunications work as well. Started my career out in Sydney, and then moved to Japan as well afterwards. And I spent a fair bit of time towards the end of my, I guess, career in management consulting, working with some partners and people out of the New York office to help set up the digital assets practice for Oliver Wyman, which is one of the largest consulting firms globally. So yeah, that went really well. They're doing lots of projects all around the world at the enterprise level, so public policy, sort of central bank level as well. So got quite exposed to a lot of things that people are doing with blockchain on the enterprise side as well. So I came into, I actually entered the crypto space through Cardano. I was quite attracted to what they were doing with real world adoption, projects out of Africa, different parts of Asia as well, and also the community. So Dan and I actually met on a floating turtle, which was the Cardano summit, I think 2 years ago, and I was an avatar, and I was listening to Dan talk about a traceability pilot that they were working on with a company actually in Tasmania, down in Australia, which is where I'm from originally. So I was quite excited about what they were doing, and I reached out, and then I guess 6 months or a year later after that, we were talking regularly. I ended up moving to Japan as well. So timing sort of worked out, and lo and behold, we're now based in Osaka. And as I was talking to Paul just before we started recording, where our office is actually in the same office that Dan started in with Input Output Japan. So it's got really good energy. We're sort of being quite productive, and quite honored to be part of that sort of legacy of building out of Japan, and so building on Cardano as well.
Yeah, thanks for the intros. I like that bit. I like that bit of history, that it's linked to where Cardano essentially really started in Japan. There's a nice energy there, a nice flow to your project kicking off there too. So diving into more on what you're actually doing now. Actually, before we get into it, Ergo's a blockchain that I get lots of questions on in the channel. And I said before, we might do a full follow-up video on this after, but just for people who haven't heard of Ergo, there's lots of people in Cardano will have, because of the similarities and even crossover of people between chains. But can you give the high level of Ergo, what it is, and then we'll dive deeper into ZenGate?
Yeah, so essentially Ergo is an EUTXO blockchain. It's proof of work. It uses a very unique and very efficient algorithm to basically allow people a very low barrier of entry if they wanted to participate in a network. It already was launched with full tooling for DeFi, for multiple asset, for multi-asset support, smart contracts, and it's basically this really robust toolbox for everything from DeFi to tokenization to just really anything you can think of that really the blockchain space utility is about.
Okay, yeah, and as I said, we will dive deeper into that. So if people are watching this video a few weeks or maybe a month or so after we've recorded, then the link for the Ergo one will be down below this one if you want to dive deeper down that rabbit hole. But ZenGate, you mentioned what you're doing now. The main product you're working on is Palmyra, which is a traceability solution. Do you want to talk a bit about that, what it is, and where it is right now?
Sure. So I'll just kind of kick it off, and then Sam can give you more details. I think Sam is the one that does all the research, all the long days and nights of reading, and I'm the one that does all the Twitter shit posting. But anyway, well, okay. So Palmyra, imagine a world where actually you can use NFTs for real world use cases, for utility, for tokenization, and really be able to create a medium where you could help emerging markets and help underserved economies, and help underserved commodities to have more exposure to the world market, to give them the ability to leapfrog technologically and infrastructure-wise. And so basically, this is the idea behind Palmyra. Palmyra is a tokenized commodity exchange platform, a tokenized commodity DEX that utilizes NFT technology and aims to serve the underserved commodity sector in developing economies. So Sam, why don't you kind of give a bit more of a breakdown of what we mean by what I just said?
Yeah, so before we even got to Palmyra, like we spent a number of months speaking to different like experts and sort of industry stakeholders in a lot of different emerging economies. And through our contacts, we started spending a lot more time in the Sri Lankan market. It was quite an interesting time that we were speaking to these people as well, considering what was happening politically. There was a lot of destabilization in the economy with sort of debt repayments, defaults. There was a change of power politically as well. And there was a lot of stuff happening. People were like queuing up to like basically pump gas. There were electricity shortages, all sorts of stuff as well. So we spent some time there. We also spent some time in Thailand as well, where we're working quite closely with SWU, which is one of the leading universities there, to understand more about their market. And effectively, what we sort of came down and sort of distilled the problem statement was there's a lot of different types businesses that are underserved and effectively struggling to keep up with the rapid digitization that's taking place in the commodity markets. And they were looking for different types of solutions to become more efficient. They're looking for solutions to engage in more cross-border trade, international trade, and also tools like traceability that you mentioned at the start to demonstrate, compliance to regulatory policy and whatnot. Where some markets that they're exporting to, like the US and the EU, are starting to mandate around traceability. So there are all these sort of things that came up that effectively we thought, okay, we can build a solution that solve these things, but they were all linked back to trace, like things around authentication, sort of efficiency, and as said, Dan comes from the blockchain space. We sort of settled on the notion that blockchain was actually the best tooling and technology to build these things out. So it's not really a technology first product we're building. Like, we spent a lot of time doing business development, meeting people, meeting different businesses, and we're solving a real life problem. And it just happens to be that blockchain and the use of tokenization, the use of NFTs, now is the best time. Now is the best time with the tools available to actually utilize this stuff. And so we're utility led, and we're solving a real life problem. So in terms of which markets we're looking to serve, there's effectively on the tail end of commodities, what we call underserved markets. And these are countries mainly out of emerging and sort of developing sort of markets. And they tend to have low levels of technology adoption. And we just use that as a sort of an index in terms of which markets to serve. And we're spending a lot of time in Sri Lanka right now. So tea is the largest agricultural commodity that they produce. They also have other types of commodities, like in spices, coconuts, rubber, vanilla beans, stuff like that. And then out of Thailand, we're spending a lot of our time in the precious metals and also the jewelry sector as well, which is where the expertise lie with the professors that we're working with. So those are our two, I guess, flagship sort of pioneer markets. But when you sort of speak to other businesses in different countries, a lot of the same issues are starting to be sort of emerge from the conversations that we have. So we're quite confident that the technology will allow us to scale from an adoption point of view and onboard a lot of different types of businesses that are effectively struggling with the same problem. So we're quite excited that our reach is even today quite extensive with the types of people we're working with, many of whom are sort of smallholder producers and whatnot in these countries. So we're really excited. We're able to bring Cardano, Ergo technology, real life use cases, giving people more economic identity, sort of digital identity, and sort of power effectively at the end of the day around their choices.
Yeah, one thing that I really like is that there is a real world problem there, and you're building the solution to solve that. Unlike a lot of blockchain cryptocurrency projects, we see they create a solution and then they go and find a problem in the real world that can solve. There actually is a problem there. The blockchain is suited to solving with traceability. It can't be changed once it's put on the blockchain, or things like identity, Atala-Prism. You have some experience in Atala-Prism, and is it Atala-Prism you'll use for identity, or is it another route you'll go?
We're still kind of figuring out which solution we're going to go with. Atala-Prism is definitely in the top. Obviously, since I have very intimate understanding and relationship with Atala and the Atala team. I mean, ultimately, it just comes down to really working with the producers, and this is not going to be something that's going to be available directly as we launch the MVP. because this is something that we really need to work with our user to understand to what degree can they utilize the digital identity or the self-sovereign identity that we're going to offer on the platform, and what is not needed, because not everybody needs to have the entire suite at their disposal. So yeah, it'll take a few months for us to really understand exactly which part of sovereign identity and digital identity these our users, platform users, require. And yeah, I mean, what you said about real world utility, I'm actually, I've been in this game for I guess a while, and on blockchain terms, it's like forever. In real world terms, it's just like 8 years, but in blockchain, yeah. In blockchain, it's like I'm like a World War I vet. Yeah, and really, I guess it's the age that's getting to me right now. You get older, you get kind of a little bit less patient with the bullshit, and the crypto's been around for over a decade now. We started out with all these great lofty goals, with these first principles, and some L1s still adhere to those principles and build on them, but what's being built on top of them? And like you said, our industry's problem is that we're not really, it's now considered brave to actually go out there and solve these real world issues, which we set out to solve in the first place. Instead, somebody's going to create another something else that's already been around that really nobody's going to use except for our communities that are already familiar with the blockchain. And that's just not sustainable. So this is why we came out and we said, look, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's like starting a new business. You have to you have to go out, you have to talk to your customers, you have to gather requirements, you have to gather specifications, you have to build a solution around the problem that they're facing. And then you bring that solution to them and you onboard them so that you can prop them up with a solution. Not build something that is completely useless and just kind of be like, oh, well, that's kind of cool, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, this is what the Palmyra is about. It's about bringing solution first, utility first, and the technology follows, right? Technology backs it up, but we're not about the technology, we're about the utility. And that is what I think is missing, is largely missing in our industry today. And I think we should get it back.
Yeah, definitely. I really like that approach. And I suppose, who is your customers? Is your clients? Who do you go to implement the solution? Is it the farmers that come on and initiate from their side, or is it government side? I've seen you're traveling around talking to lots of different people. But where does the conversation start for new people to start utilizing your solution?
So there are a lot of different stakeholders that effectively touch the Palmyra ecosystem and the Palmyra marketplace. In terms of what we're building out currently with our MVP, we're building a buy, sell, trace solution, buy, sell, trace, and pay. And the businesses, it's a B2B platform, so wholesale platform. It effectively depends on the type of value chain you're working with. So if I just use tea as an example, because that's who we're onboarding first, in tea, there are farmers, and then there are also sort of factories that process the tea leaves. So we're working directly with the factories, and they're able to create wholesale, so bulk types of teas, both from commercial grade all the way up to artisanal grades as well, which is a really unique sort of segment of tea that we're working with right now. And they will sell directly to different wholesalers in other markets. So these could be larger importers out of the US, or boutique shops. They could be hotels, or sort of well-known world-class restaurants, for example. So they're the types of buyers we're working with. It's a B2B platform. So there is a sort of minimum order, I guess, when it comes to stuff like that. But in terms of where the technology touches, like who it impacts at the end of the day, traceability doesn't start with the factory. Traceability starts at the farm. So we need to build solutions that accommodate those types of businesses in at the start of the value chain. traceability also impacts regulators. Regulators want to know what's happening in terms of crop production. It impacts the brokers, impacts the traders as well, like in these markets. So we're effectively creating an ecosystem. It's not just a B2B marketplace. So the tools that we build will have DIDs for the farmers. It'll be able to capture how much they're collecting each day, where they're collecting it, stuff like that. So yeah, we spend a lot of time speaking to everyone, not just our sort of direct B2B customers, because it's ultimately, like we like to talk about sort of internally at ZenGate, this is an aggregate solution we're building. It's not just individual silos that we're trying to perfect. The tools are out there, so we need to actually bring it all together, and that stuff doesn't exist right now. And we're really pushing to make it easy to use for people who are not digitally native in nature. So it's been quite a challenge, but quite a rewarding challenge as well. And we're trying to simplify the UI constantly as much as possible to make it accessible.
Yeah, and actually there's really... No, go ahead, Dan.
Sorry. Yeah,
no,
just I just wanted to kind of add to that really you really have to I guess emphasize on the fact that this is not just we're not building a traceability solution. We're building an aggregate solution that includes traceability. We are building a sustainability solution. We're building an impactability solution. That's what it's about for these producers and for the buyers. This is about expanding their market. It's about expanding their reach. It's about expanding their opportunity. It's about opportunity inclusion. And it's about tokenization. It's about utilizing all these tools that we have at our disposal that are just sometimes by themselves might not be that effective, but in aggregate, they are effective. Maybe tokenization by itself might not be that effective for them. Maybe traceability by itself might not be that effective for them, like really effective, impactful. But what if you combine traceability with tokenization, so you can to make the asset tradable? You combine it with sovereign identity. You combine it with instant payments. Now there is something that a business can use, and you combine all of that. You wrap that up in a really straightforward, user-friendly, low onboarding barrier type UI and UX. You got a winner there. This is not a new concept. This is a concept that brought you the iPhone, and this is something that it's an example that I bring up a lot. And if you think about it, we had touchpads before the iPhone. We had smartphones before the iPhone. I had one. It was a Palm Pilot. I had it before all the smartphone madness came into play. I had this Palm Pilot, color Palm Pilot, with an attachment that was a cell phone, that had apps on it and everything. But the iPhone, what it did was it changed the UI and the UX of the platform that is basically that touchpad. And it aggregated all these different functionalities in there that already existed, but it put them into such a way, into such a package that you could just pretty much give it to your grandmother and she would know what to do with it. So that's how you're supposed to do it. That's how we should do it in the blockchain business, and that's how we're doing it at ZenGate.
Yeah, I suppose it's about opening up other markets for the people producing the crops as well, because there will be more buyers for that if they can see the full history of where it is, and they know exactly where it's came from. There's actually two good videos I watched on your YouTube channel about one. I think you were in Las Vegas, Dan. You were showing the demo of scanning the product, and you could see the full history, all the details about it. That's a very good one for people who want to get an overview on that. And the other one was where you were out actually on the farm, where you were looking at the tea crops and talking all about the timeline of where it goes and how it can be implemented. So for people who want to go deeper, I think they're two good ways to go. And when you come to crypto projects, there's lots of times there's a token. Have you got a token, or is there one in the future, or where are you going in that regard?
Yeah, this is kind of let Sam give you the spiel on that. But yeah, the token hasn't been easy for us, because we don't want to just release a token to release a token. In fact, I would feel I would feel dirty doing that, because I just think that if you're going to release a token, and you have to have utility, you have to have a platform for it. There has to be a real utility for it. And this is why it's taken us for a while to really even start talking about a token. I mean, yes, there is going to be a token. Yes, we will be releasing it. It's gonna be a while. It's not gonna be tomorrow. It's not gonna be next month. But what we're working on right now is really understanding and fleshing out true utility of this token. And I mean, Sam can kind of give you some more details on what we've been thinking.
Yeah, so like Dan was saying, has taken us a while, and I think part of that is rushing to launch a token when you don't really understand what your business model looks like can sort of cause all sorts of errors, and it can be very distracting as well. If you've, I guess the key takeaway for us that and sort of principle we've been trying to abide by is certain things you just don't rush, because a mistake you make early on could sort of make it or break it. So we've been very diligent in terms of pivoting, making sure our business models getting tested out. And I think we're at a good enough stage now where we've been spending a lot more time discussing token utility, where we're sort of in the process of actually writing some stuff up, which we'll be releasing with the community, I think, in the next month or two. But as for what we're thinking initially around token utility, there's this bit around business development. So we sort of asked the question, how can you leverage the community and the strength of the community to scale effectively? Like one of the core principles is, can we bring opportunity inclusion to as many people as possible? You get that by onboarding as many users as possible. And what I really love about Cardano and also Ergo, but really Cardano, is how strong the community is. So there's this bit around community business development. So how can we actually create what we like to call the Palmyra Pioneers program to effectively teach the community and guide the community on the types of businesses we want to be onboarding, and having some form of grant system which actually incentivizes people to do that. I don't know what the exact numbers are of how many people are in the Cardano community, but it's huge. And I think it just makes a lot of sense to get people involved, and the impact that they can have on these businesses and these people are visible at the end of the day. So that's been a really big part. Dan also mentioned this bit around off-chain sort of data input oracles as well. So the token will interact, I guess, with some form of oracle framework. We're in the process of going through that. It'll be a next-gen sort of oracle framework, quite different to what we're used to, I guess, as crypto users. So we're really excited about being able to do that, and to not just experiment, but adopt the new standard around like what a good oracle does and is responsible for. So we're really excited about that. There's also elements around like loyalty systems, so you get discounts around fees and whatnot. But yeah, so this is we've been spending a lot of time effectively thinking about, we need to make sure that there's an actual utility behind the token, and people want to and feel incentivized to get involved in the ecosystem itself.
Yeah, I like to hear that. Like the project, you're building a solution for an actual problem. It makes sense that for any token that you associate with that it is thought out. It does have some utility behind it, and it goes with the overall project. So before we get to finish up, kind of what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for ZenGate? Where will it kind of be going over that time frame? And that's 10 years in crypto term, really.
Yeah, that's like 100 years in crypto, actually. There's going to be a lot. I mean, there's already a lot going on. Look, Sam and I, we pull 14, 16-hour days all the time. That's how much work there is. And it's not just us working. We have a team. We have a team of what is it, Tim? Over 10 people now, right? I mean, 10 people plus that are working tirelessly on the project, that are in charge of different segments of the project. And really, okay, so what we're aiming for is, of course, an MVP. The MVP is going to be around in Q4 of this year, and as Sam said, it was going to be buy, sell, trace, pay. Of course, after that, we're going to have more iterations coming up pretty quickly. One of the things actually that's going to be another big part of Palmyra, not during the MVP phase, but afterwards, the next iteration is going to be a DeFi TradeFi platform. And essentially, what that's going to do is going to offer trade financing options to producers looking to borrow in these jurisdictions that are actually borrowing all the time, but really have to pay these huge percentages because of the local economic situation. And so that what we're looking to do is build a DeFi platform that will bring in liquidity from the DeFi ecosystem within the blockchain space, and then offer loans and offer liquidity to these producers. And of course, this is actually going to be asset backed. This is going to be collateralized. So it's going to be you're lending money for real world cases, and you're doing it the same way as you would on any other lending platform. And here you get yields. You actually get realistic yields. These are not yields that people just make up in their dreams. Aside from that, there's also going to be a trading platform. So essentially, this is a commodity trading platform. So buy and sell, spot selling or spot buying is the first phase. Eventually, what we're going to do is we're going to offer some of the not all of the commodities, but some of the commodities for speculation in futures and forward contract form. And so basically, the NFT representing the commodity lot is going to be tradable on the trading platform and tied to a future or a forward contract. So again, you're going to have the speculative ecosystem where people can also participate in. Going kind of rewinding a little bit backwards. After right around the MVP time, we're also going to do an IDO on. It's Ergo Pad right now, but they're also building out their Cardano side coin. It's called Coinecta, right? Sam, I'm saying it right. Coinecta. Am I saying it right, Sam? Silent
Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
So Ergo Pad is actually the premier launch pad on Ergo, and Coinecta is their Cardano side, and so this is actually going to be their first. It's going to be their first cross-chain IDO, right, Sam?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So this is going to be their first cross-chain IDO on both Cardano and Ergo, and so we're really looking forward to that. We're going to keep at it, keep onboarding new commodities, opening up new markets, and the work never stops.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that. I really like the loan side that you're looking at, and RealFi as well. We've seen lots of people call that in using DeFi, but actually in the real world, and the yield is from real businesses. So there's both sides. You earn a yield, but you also help. Say it could be villagers, or it could be someone building out their own farm or anything. So it's a really good use of blockchain. So anything else we haven't covered here that you want to put out there? And maybe in Q4 we could do a catch up to see where things are at and around the launch of the MVP and see how the project is going.
Yeah, we'd love that, Paul.
Yeah, so any closing thoughts, or have we kind of covered it all? Any links in that I will put in the description below, and I mentioned a few other videos. I'll put links to the ZenGate YouTube channel where people can go and check that one out too.
Yeah, I think main closing remark on our end is like we've been saying over and over again, we're like a utility-led business or utility-led project, and we feel really supported by the community. And I know blockchain, the industry has made a lot of efforts to say we're going to solve this, we're going to solve that. And I think a lot of people have fallen short. A lot of people have tried as well and come really close. And it's really supportive that the community are getting behind us. Paul, like yourself, providing us a platform to actually be able to talk about our project. So reaching out to us around, hey, can you onboard this commodity? Can you onboard this business? We've been just taken back by how supportive everyone's been. So it's not an easy thing we're trying to solve. Some people have tried before, but this is what we're here for. Like, I truly believe that blockchain and digital assets, this technology is revolutionary. People are getting distracted by new things like AI, and yes, that will change the world in its own right. But blockchain and sort of decentralized ledger technologies are still to this day revolutionary, and I think there's a lot that people can do to empower different businesses, empower different people. So we're just going to continue on that. We're excited to scale, sort of onboard new team members, onboard more community members, all this sort of stuff. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Paul, as well, for having us on. And we'll continue to do our part, onboarding people into these ecosystems.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Paul, and thank you. I mean, yeah, as Sam said, thank you to the community. What we came up with for the business development side of the token utility we didn't just dream this up. This came from real interactions. The community. I mean, people are reaching out to us and actively trying to participate in moving this business ahead, helping us succeed. Various community members have already reached out. Various community members are already helping us, working with us. And so it just goes to show you that community is everything in this business. And yeah, I just really want to make it clear that without community, this project will not succeed. And we really, 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 truly appreciate all of your support, all of your involvement, all of your critique about the project that can help ZenGate and Palmyra excel.
Yeah, I think I'll echo them sentiments about a community. A community is vital to any project succeeding. They will help you in both the good and bad times, because you're going to go through both with any project, and the community can be there to support in both. I really appreciate both of your time. It's been a pleasure to learn more about the project. And like I said, we'll try and catch up in maybe Q4 in around when you're coming out with the MVP to find out how everything's going at that point. Anyone new, do subscribe. If you want more interviews, general overviews of news in Cardano, and maybe a bit more on Ergo going forward, share it out if you think others would like to know more about ZenGate. Do appreciate everyone watching. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.